you're thinking about moving to San Diego, we're gonna give you 9 reasons why not to. Hello, I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And I'm Chris Erickson.
And we are your North County realtors here in San Diego. This is where you come for all things North County. We're dropping new videos every week about things to do, places to go, neighborhoods. Definitely, if this is your first time here, subscribe below. If you're thinking about moving to San Diego, definitely hit us up, call, text, or email. We love helping people move out here.
So today we're getting into 9 reasons why not to move to San Diego. It's kind of hard. We were born and raised here. We kind of know the ins and outs of San Diego, but living here, you might get used to a little bit. So we kind of went through, came up with 9 things you might not be thinking about before you're moving out here. So let's get into them right now.
Reason number 1, the weather is too perfect. So if you're coming from a place that has seasons and that's a big deal for you, we really don't have much in the way of seasons here. Leaves do fall in the fall, but that's about it. We're consistently in the 65 to 75 range. Sunny skies. But if you're looking for something that has a little bit more variety, San Diego's definitely not for you. One of the cool parts about San Diego though is it's super close to places that have seasons. You can get to Big Bear, you can get to Tahoe, you can get to Mammoth, you can get to a lot of spots where you can find real weather. You can even get to the desert in like 45 minutes if that's what you're into also. So definitely a lot of places that are close to be able to see seasons. So we do have a little bit of weather changes, not really seasons, but we definitely have May Gray, which is this thing out here, June Gloom, and then Santa Anas and heat waves. So Santa Anas are when the winds change and you get the hot air coming from the desert. It gets just hot and dry. And then we do go through periods where it gets into the 90s, even in the coastal areas of San Diego. But on the flip side, we also have those rare days where you wake up and there's frost on your cars and you will see Instagram explode.
So reason number 2, and this is a pretty obvious reason, is it's super expensive out here. From the cost of housing, which is in the top of all the United States, there's some areas that are like one of the most expensive areas in all of North County, Rancho Santa Fe, La Jolla, a few other areas. There are some reasonable areas as well, so you kind of just search around. The median home price right now in San Diego is about $650,000. It did just break that record recently. So that's kind of like the main housing cost, but we also have childcare, taxes, especially here in California, are pretty high. The gas is more expensive than a lot of the country. So we actually made a whole video on the cost of living specifically here in North County, San Diego, which is like Carlsbad, Encinitas, San Marcos, Oceanside, that whole northern region of San Diego. So we'll have a link for it right above. Check that out if you kind of want a little more insight into all those numbers.
So depending where you're coming from, you might be used to the hustle and bustle of city life. San Diego definitely has a very mellow vibe. The personality of most communities here are very mellow, laid back. It's definitely not that like city life where everybody's moving a million miles a minute. It's definitely a lot calmer, slower, which for a lot of people is a great thing, but some people really need that excitement part of the community they live in. We are just a little bit more beach life, a little bit more calm, and a little bit more mellow.
We do get stuff done. It's very productive, but we do have a little bit more even keel kind of vibe out here.
It's our own little island style.
All right, so number 4, now since we don't really get too much weather out here, you're gonna notice coming from a lot of places, especially where it does get a good amount of rain, drivers out here are horrible in the rain. You'll notice like even a little sprinkle, yeah, me too, everybody. A little sprinkle, you're gonna get traffic. Everybody's driving like 45 miles on the freeway. And yeah, so if you are moving out here from a lot of places around, make sure you have some patience when you're driving through those rainy days. You're gonna get frustrated at people. You might get frustrated at me and Cassidy, and we're gonna be out there too. Drivers out here are not accustomed to weather and rains.
You won't need chains, but you will need patience. The 5th thing to think about when you're moving to San Diego is natural disasters. If you're not from California, I know that earthquakes seem super scary. Luckily, they don't happen all too often. San Diego is also in a spot where we don't have like major issues from earthquakes like Los Angeles and San Francisco. The other thing that we have to think about here in San Diego is wildfires. Actually, all of California always have to think about wildfires. So it's just something you have to think about. We have a fire season here when we get some of those Santa Anas that we talked about in the weather. Strong winds coming from the deserts, making the air dry. Definitely is fire time, but it's just something to keep in mind. And we also do have the ocean here, so there's always a possibility of a tsunami. I haven't seen one yet,
So to mitigate some of the fire stuff too, a lot of the communities, especially if they're on hills or right next to the brush and stuff, they do have a lot of cutback, a certain amount of distance between the house and the vegetation. So they cut that out, clear that out, kind of give it a little bit of defensible space is what they call it. So number 6 on the list, San Diego is spread out. There's a lot of sprawl. There's a lot of little cities. There's a lot of things to do in each city. So we kind of make the joke like everything's 20 minutes away. You go into the stores 20 minutes away, you go into the beach, it's 20 minutes away. San Diego County especially is huge. So let's say you want to bring the kids a day to the Wild Animal Park from where I'm at, Encinitas, it's over 20 minutes, but it's definitely a trek. How far is it from?
It's about 20 minutes from my house.
About 20 minutes from San Marcos. So obviously coastal, you're gonna be close to the beach, but everywhere you're going is gonna be spread out. Which brings us into our next point.
Everybody has a car. There is some public transportation here. It's just not super readily available. There are some bus systems and some trolley systems in Oceanside, into San Marcos and Vista and Escondido. And then there's also a train that goes down the coast here. But that's about it for North County.
So if you're going downtown to catch a game at Petco, watch the Padres, or just head downtown for a day, cruise around there, check out Gaslamp, it is an easy shot.
Some people definitely use the train as a way to commute if they live in North County and work downtown.
It's about 40 or 45 minutes for most stations up here, so it is an easy way to commute down there.
Other than that, there's not a ton of public transportation options. So one of the other things to think about when moving to San Diego is crowds. It's definitely growing. There's still a lot of building and development, and as there's less and less land, the lot sizes are getting smaller and smaller, which just means smaller yards, smaller space between you and your neighbors, and so it's just getting a little bit more crowded. But San Diego is really pushing to add infrastructure as they add more housing. So we just had a new center open up in Carlsbad a few years ago that was a huge bonus for a whole ton of communities around it, called La Costa Town Square. So as it gets more crowded, obviously that means a little bit more traffic too. There's pretty much continuous construction going on our main freeways just to kind of keep up with the added people that are moving to the area.
So reason number 9, if you are moving out here for the ocean, you're thinking it's tropical, it's nice all the time, it goes with the San Diego weather, but most of the time it is fairly cold relative to other waters around. Like if you go down into Mexico and Baja, it's super warm down there. Obviously, like Hawaii waters are super warm. Right here in San Diego, our coastal waters are usually in the mid 60s. Sometimes in the summertime, we will get a nice warming trend where it gets up to the mid 70s, which is killer, super trunkable. You can hop in there, it's really nice. During the winters, it does get into the mid 50s. If you are going to the beach, you're mostly just gonna be hanging out on the beach unless you're jumping into the ocean, into the water and surfing or boogie boarding or swimming or whatever. You're likely, most of the time, gonna have to have a wetsuit. Now I wear a 3-2 wetsuit most of the time. While the beaches are actually pretty warm year round, like we'll get some December days which are killer. You could hop onto the beach, relax, it's like 80 degrees, but the ocean waters during those times is like 58, 60 degrees, so it is pretty chilly, so just be aware of that. And if you are surfing or looking to get into surfing, there's a lot of people, back to the crowds. So a lot of the surf breaks are crowded. Once you get here, get your local knowledge, you'll find your little spots, your little peaks here and there.
Even if you're not coming to get into the water, it's pretty awesome having the ocean as just a focal point from pretty much every part of North County. I live in San Diego Hills, and every day cruising down our main road, we can see the ocean, and it's awesome.
So there's 9 reasons not to move to San Diego. If we convince you not to move here, it might be a bad decision, but it is still great. Like I said, anywhere you live, there's gonna be negatives, but this place is pretty awesome. We were born and raised here. We lived here our whole lives. We're raising our families here now. I don't see us leaving anytime soon. How about you?
Nope, not going anywhere.
No. If you do want to know a little bit more about pros and cons of certain cities, we do have some in links below, but also put a link up here to the San Marcos pros and cons, so you can check that out. And this is where you come for all things North County, San Diego, neighborhoods, things to do, everything in between. We live here, we work here, we play here.
If we didn't talk you out of moving to San Diego today, which hopefully we didn't, definitely get in touch, call, text, email. We're just a phone call away. We'd love to help you move out here.
And if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe. We're dropping new videos every week, all about North County, San Diego, the ins, the outs, the upside downs, everything in between. So be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, so every time we do drop a new video, you will be aware of that. I'm Chris Erickson.
I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And we are North County, San Diego Realtors. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.